Hey everyone, welcome back to Verified Gains. Happy Monday. Today is February 3rd, 2025. I know I just posted a video yesterday, but I want to do a quick update on what's going on since the market is very volatile and there's a lot of changes in price action going on right now. And I'm sure you guys would appreciate this additional insight because we all want reassurance at the end of the day, and I'm here to provide and sort of a perspective, not financial advice, but perspective. So, yesterday, we're sort of on our way down, and I mentioned how, okay, the price target that I'm looking for is around the 92,500 mark, which is depicted by this green horizontal support line from previous videos. And you can see that, so what happened was, I might have to change the time frame to like, let's say like a 2 hour interval, and it'll make more sense. So what happened was, so yesterday we had, excuse me, we had this big drawdown to the downside, hitting this 92,000 mark. And since then, we have bounced back up. And right now, we're retesting the $98,000 horizontal resistance line. So that's where we're right now on this Monday. So let's go back to the daily interval. And what we're looking at over here is simply the retest, okay? So that's where this green candle is forming. And I just want to show you guys something very interesting. I'm not making this up, okay? So look, when we turn on the pi cycle top indicator, the shadow to the downside touched the 111-day moving average, as you can see over here. Guys, I really cannot make this up. I mean, this is technical analysis at its finest. Um, and so what I would recommend is, of course, take this with a grain of salt, but you guys can see how, it really does abide by this pi cycle top indicator. And like I've said before, if I were dollar cost averaging, this would have been the perfect opportunity to buy back in. Well, not even buying back in, because that would imply that you sold to begin with, which of course would have been a very poor decision. Um, of course, I cannot, you know, advise you guys on how to invest your money, but that would have been a pretty poor decision to panic sell on this drawdown because, many others will say the same thing, but has it really changed the narrative? I mean, I understand there's a tariff war going on, but does that really change the narrative for Bitcoin in the long term? The answer is no. I mean, just a few months ago, we were in the $70,000 range. And before that, for the longest time, we're hovering in the 50s to 60s. And we're all of a sudden going to panic sell at $100,000. I mean, to me, that doesn't make too much sense from a investing perspective. So really, my only concern is whether I'm dollar cost averaging at the best price possible. And although that does sound like I'm trying to time the market, well, you try to get to the best price as close as possible. Now, in the bigger scheme of things, of course, it doesn't really matter. Like I said before about Solana, where I had previously dollar costed average at $256, well, that was pretty much the local top. So that was not the best price to buy in. but I did because at the end of the day, my cost basis, my average price for Solana is much lower than that, even the current price. So what am I looking for moving forward? Well, it looks like we're retesting, probably, possibly breaking through the $99,000, well, $98,000 resistance line. And what I would expect is some consolidation above it. Okay, so that's a very important point. We have to see consolidation above the resistance line for it to convert to a support line, because until that actually happens, there's also a likelihood of this retesting the bottom of this shadow over here, which is around 91,000. And like I've said before, let's not forget about this one back here, which was 89,000. Okay, so we still have a lot of work to do. There might even be a retest of the $92,500 mark before we retest, and some sort of movement back and forth in this channel over here, formed by these two horizontal lines. Let's say that this was really like a one-off black swan event, which arguably it could be, since people are making a huge deal out of the tariff war. And if that is the case, then we're actually going to see a very quick bounce back up to the upside. Um, and that's usually what happens with black swan events. A lot of people get liquidated, a lot of people panic sell, all the larger investors buy in at cheaper prices at a discount, and we move up from there. And the people who panic sold, the people who got liquidated, they'll never be able to re-enter at that lower price. Okay, so that's how the market works, and that's why you have to be very good at risk managing. You have to really be careful when trading with leverage. And finally, that's why we dollar cost average. Now, dollar cost averaging doesn't only apply to buying in, it also applies when you're selling at the end of the bull cycle. So always keep that in mind. But, we're far away from selling, and we're going to revisit that after summer, after we have a lot more data to support the top of the bull cycle. Um, and secondly, I just want to go over Solana very quickly as well. So yesterday I was talking about how Solana really has even broke down through the 111-day moving average, and retesting the $187 mark. Not so surprisingly, the Solana or pretty much anything that's smaller than Bitcoin is going to have larger volatility and larger variations in prices, and that's what we saw over here. So the Pi cycle top indicator doesn't really apply to anything other than Bitcoin in my experience, but it is interesting to take a look at it. And as you can see, it did break down below the Pi cycle top indicator, more specifically the 111-day moving average. It retested 187 eventually, bounced back up, and right now it's actually retesting the underside of that 111-day moving average, which is actually interesting to see because I don't regularly apply the Pi cycle top indicator to Solana. To me, it's only useful when I'm looking at Bitcoin. But that's what we're seeing so far. So same with Solana. Don't be surprised if we, retest 176-ish, the bottom of this shadow over here. And but more likely retesting the 187. And similar to Bitcoin, I would want to see some consolidation above the 111 and as well as above the 218. So right now, um, these are now both resistance lines, and we have a lot of work to do before we go up from here. So, these are the key prices that I would continue to look out for when considering dollar cost averaging if I were to buy these coins. All right, great. Thank you for listening to the updates and hope you guys are doing well. Bye bye.